Show. This is the Sports Porch, Black and Gold, with your hosts, the technical director, the Grand Schwabini, and Hockey Jesus. Come on, Pittsburgh. Let's show a little Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates love. The Sports Porch Black and Gold starts now.
Oh.
Yeah, there it is. The Sports Porch Black and Gold. It does. It starts right now. Actually, I think it's really lucky to start right now, considering that we spent the last 4.5 days basically at Put-in-Bay, which is a place that you go to party when you're younger, not when you're our age. Anyway, Sports Porch Black and Gold, Facebook, YouTube, X.
Hey, we survived. We held our own. We're
We
good.
did survive.
We're good here.
We did. I got
There were plenty of people our age there.
There were plenty of people our age there too as well. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. It was still kind of exhausting. You could download the podcast right after the show in the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. That's my Macho Man Savage derivative accent. And yes, on YouTube, please subscribe at the Sports Porch Podcast. Click the notifications button. You'll know we're live every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Now, why, you may ask, why are we doing this show tonight at this time after being on this party island in Ohio, which was a great place, by the way? Mm-hmm. Put-in-Bay. If you got any comments about Put-in-Bay or any thoughts, go ahead, let us know. It was my first time up there. No, this is not a show about Put-in-Bay, so don't worry. We're getting to the black and gold here real quick. But I just want to know, because I felt like I was in a little bit of a different world up there, and it has nothing to do with politics or any of that bullshit. I literally felt like I was in a vortex on another dimension. It could have been substances, right? That's
more mental illness on your part.
Yeah, that's true, because I have felt that way walking around the house,
Yeah.
periodically.
Yeah.
So black and gold sports. Yeah, you guys know what that means. Steelers, preseason's over. It's time to put up or shut up. No doubt, right?
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
Yep.
Okay. All of your hopes and dreams, Steeler Nation, all of your hopes and dreams have come down to, will Aaron Rodgers not get injured on the first snap? That is what you're worried about. It is.
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jets weren't worried about that, and they should have been.
Right.
Yeah. Well, but the Jets aren't worried about anything, because they're like, we're going to suck again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true too.
I know. I mean, that's hyperbole, but of course. But I'm just, look, that's what it boils down to. And really, I've been evaluating. We spent a lot. We actually did go to Put-in-Bay, for anybody who wants to leave a comment out there. We spent a lot of time in the car together on the way there and on the way back. So we had a lot.
Maybe a little too much time. Maybe a little too much time.
Yep. We did a lot of Aaron Rodgers-esque reflecting in the woods.
Sure did.
Yeah, there were a lot of trees. There was a lot of bark. And, I mean, I got a different feeling about this, guys. I just, and then Hockey Jesus, who, by the way, is to my right on the screen, to my left, the way I'm actually pointing anyway. And the Grand Schwabini are here as well. If you haven't noticed. But I'm a little worried. I'm going to lead with that, and then Hockey Jesus wants to take us into breaking down some of the the running back room, this room, that room. But I got to tell you, man, a lot of people are talking about drinking the Aaron Rodgers Kool-Aid. They really are, and I so desperately want to taste it. It's kind of like the weird flavor Kool-Aid at the party where you're like, ooh, that was a new color. I really want to taste it, but I'm actually afraid just a little bit afraid, because I know all Kool-Aid tastes good, right? It all tastes good. But I'm a little afraid this flavor is possibly going to not taste as good. And I can't drink the Aaron Rodgers Kool-Aid. Okay. The franchise is pinning its hopes this year on winning a Super Bowl with a 41-year-old quarterback who is controversial just because he's strange. They have a number one wide receiver who's not a true number one wide receiver. That's not bad because he is a number one guy. They just have the hold on. They just have nothing. Let me get this out and then you can rip me to shreds. They just have nothing behind him. Nothing. Okay. Absolutely nothing. All right. Calvin Austin III is a fun guy to watch, but he ain't a number two. He ain't a number two. Roman Wilson hasn't played. Okay. Who knows? And all the other garbage after that. You've got an offensive line that's young and talented and unproven. I'll give you that. Handled poorly the last couple years. You've got a running back who's a complete rookie who doesn't have that first burst. I haven't seen the burst yet. Now was preseason. I didn't watch a whole lot. But there's a lot to worry about here, guys. There's a lot to worry about. And I'm talking offense here. We can talk about the defense later or next week before the season. But all I'm saying is that while I desperately want to hop on with my terrible towel and my black and gold ice cream and my Eaton Park cookies and all that shit, and I want to ride Aaron Rodgers to the Super Bowl. Yes, and the Heinz ketchup that we had a whole conversation about while we were in Put in Bay, because one restaurant up there was serving some weird ketchup.
Yeah,
weird,
anyway,
really weird.
Yeah, I'm just not. I just can't. I can't sell myself to the idea that if this is not a good year, it's just going to be another one of those typical Steeler years. I think if it's not a good year, meaning good year is 11-6 or better in this league. Really, that's a good. It's not going to be 9-8 or 10-7. It's going to be 4-13, which is probably good. You know, we've talked about this, but I don't see any in between this year. They're pinning it all on Rodgers, taking him far. And what if he doesn't? They're not going to. If he doesn't, it's a dumpster fire. So I can't buy in yet. I just can't. And that's it for me. You guys take it away on that one.
Well, we got a comment from Chris Chata.
Yeah. Okay. My fault, Chris. I'm sorry. I was going crazy. Seems like the Steelers are entering the season on extremely thin ice. Thank you. One big injury, a 3-game losing streak, etc. And it could be an awfully ling season. And I know you meant long because he followed that up with a rephrase. But right. That's kind of how I feel. It's thin ice. Why are you shaking your head? Jump in. This is actually your show tonight, Hockey Jesus. I told you that. I don't want to carry the torch tonight. I'm tired. You had me partying for 4 straight days.
I'm gonna let Mark go first because I feel like he's got some good insights before I go into Yinzer territory.
Deflect. All right.
Well, I mean, I guess I got a question. What was your question? Was it what's the outlook of the Steelers? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's not that what it was my feeling about where the Steelers are for real. Now that we've gone through the soap opera of who is the quarterback gonna be, Fields, Wilson, we want them both. They're both gone. Right. Aaron Rodgers, that whole soap opera, will he show up? Now we have Cam. Now we have Cam hold out, hold in. Did they ever reach a decision with him?
Yeah, he's gonna play. That's what's gonna happen.
So basically, that's what I thought. Our 4 days in the vortex, I forgot that happened right before we left. He's just gonna play.
He's just gonna play. So he's not gonna get any more money. Nothing.
The Steelers won. They won that one. Good for them.
Yeah.
But that's my point is like I'm not buying into the Aaron Rodgers thing the way a lot of people are starting to talk about. And we know the radio guys are talking about this, but Madden's not, because I actually listened to Madden after you guys left when we were done driving.
Right.
Guys,
right.
Let's just be honest. I mean,
thank you.
You can, you can look through rose-colored glasses if you want to. I mean, for example, last year, remember when Russell Wilson got off to a really good start? All the games before the Eagles game, right? That's when it started to calm down. But before that game, he I don't know, maybe he was like 4-0 or 4-1 or something. And he he had really good numbers and he looks real sharp, right?
Right.
I was listening to guys on the radio talking about how they couldn't name 5 better starting quarterbacks than Russell Wilson. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's like wherever you're coming from, you can have those rose-colored glasses. I mean, look, is Rodgers talented? Sure. He's 41 years old. At some point, he's not going to be talented anymore. Maybe it'll be this year. Maybe it won't. There's a lot of talented players on the team. But you're looking at a situation where everything has to go right for them to go far this year. And on one hand, at least they have enough talent where that is possible. But then on the other hand, is it likely? Probably not. And I think what we're really kind of looking at is we're looking at probably a similar season to last season. They'll be in it till the end. It could be 9-8, could be 10-7. Ball bounces their way. Could be, 11-6, right? But it also could be the ball bounces the other way, and it could be 7-10. So I just think what they are is kind of a middling team. And most of the time, to be a real contender, you have to have a core that is relatively young, but it stars in their prime. Like, so for example, you got 2 Super Bowls with Ben, but every year Ben was in his prime, the Steelers always had a chance, right? They always had a chance to have a really good year, like a 12-win year, a 13-win year, right?
Right.
They always had a chance for that. And that's just kind of unfortunately, but they just don't have that now. The teams that have that are Kansas City and Baltimore and some would say the Eagles, some would say
The Bills.
right? Those are the teams that have like quarterbacks in their prime, right? I would say Joe Burrow, but the team is so bad on the defensive side of the ball, it's almost like he doesn't matter, even though he's so good. But the Steelers just don't have that. They don't, they're trying to put pieces together to make a run. And usually that doesn't work. So I'm not expecting a lot, but nothing will surprise me. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at 6-11. I wouldn't be surprised at 11-6. Honestly, I wouldn't. I think it could be anywhere in between those two.
Well, I think the one thing that Calvin said that I believe is absolutely true is we don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
That's true. That's an absolute unknown. And honestly, you can say the same thing about DK, right? DK Metcalf and Aaron Rodgers together, we have no clue what they're going to do in the Steelers uniform. Okay, that's true. But both of those guys are an upgrade over what we had before.
That is true.
Now, as far as the conversation, I'm so tired of this. And I know why it's happening. I get it. But I'm so tired of well, last year we didn't have a true number 1 wide receiver. So we fixed that, went out and got a true number 1 wide receiver. And now this year we're complaining because we don't have a number 2 wide receiver. Okay. Look, do you think Buffalo is worried about Joshua Palmer or Khalil Shakir being their number 2? No, they're not. And do you think those guys are that much better than Calvin Austin III and or Roman Wilson, who nobody knows if he's going to be good or bad because once again, he's never put on a Steelers uniform and played a full season either. I mean, you could say the same thing about Rashard Bateman. And what did the Ravens do to go get a wide receiver? They got somebody older than DK Metcalf and DeAndre Hopkins. And these guys are favored to make it to the damn Super Bowl. So, I mean, I get it.
You know what?
I get the angst. Okay, that's fine. I get it. But then I look at the Buffalo Bills defense and I compare it to the Steelers. And I'm saying, you know what? Our defense is better than them. So why should we be concerned about the wide receiver 2 position when we actually went out and addressed it a little bit with the Jonnu Smith? He's not a wide receiver 2. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to that level. But I'm cautiously optimistic only because I haven't seen the superstars play a single down yet for the Pittsburgh Steelers in this Arthur Smith system. But if I'm looking at it a little bit logically and not necessarily through my black and gold glasses, I'm saying, you know what? I think they've got a better chance at it than last year. And sometimes quarterbacks in their prime can get frustrated because they haven't made it to the big game, or they've only made it, one round into the playoffs, or they've made it to the AFC championship, 3 years in a row, but can't seem to get over it. Sometimes they do too much and then they fail even worse because they should have just been doing the same things they were doing all the time, just a little bit better. What the Steelers have said is we're unplugging pretty much all the power positions and we're putting in other players that in their prime were really good at it. And now they really don't have anything to prove because, let's face it, these guys don't have to win a Super Bowl. They can just ride off in the sunset. I mean, in the case of Aaron Rodgers after this year, still going to be a Hall of Famer, but he could tarnish his legacy if he takes Mike Tomlin to his only losing record.
That's true. That's true.
So I don't think he wants to go out like that. So
you're right.
I guess I'm not so worried about the 7-10, the 6-11 record for that reason. Now he is old, so clearly you're always worried. You're always worried about the injury, but dude, same thing can happen to Lamar Jackson running down the 50-yard line, and boom, there goes an ankle, there goes an ACL, there goes a hammy. And don't tell me for a second that Baltimore is going to feel good about their team if they lose their first string quarterbacks, either Baltimore or Buffalo. And same with Kansas City. Kansas City's even a worse situation. Although I think their defense is much better than maybe not that much better than Baltimore, but I think they've got a more well-rounded team than Buffalo does. So that's the way I'm going into the season. I'm going into it with those black and gold colored glasses, as I said before. But I'm really thinking that the first 3 or 4 games, and we'll do this next week. Teaser for next week. Next week we do all our picks. So teaser for next week. I think the first 4 or 5 games, the first 4 or 5 games before the bye, is everything to this season. I think if they can get off to a good start, they're gonna be okay. But if they get off to a lousy start, they are in absolute big trouble, much bigger trouble than last year.
That's next week. That's next week's show.
Much bigger trouble than last year. So that's where I am with this.
Let's let the Grand Schwabini get a word in here. I feel like he had something he wanted to say to you.
You were incorrect.
I was just trying to get him to slow down a little. That's all. Just trying to get him to slow down.
All right.
You're a technical director. You're not a moderator.
Yes, but I am also the director. So, and Steve did not want to run the whole show tonight. He left me with some of the responsibility, and
you were afraid. You were afraid he was going to give away too much from next week.
Well, no, I wasn't. I wasn't afraid of anything. I just knew that when he gets on a train and it starts going, it just keeps rumbling.
The train is pulled into the station, and it's time to start talking about who is going to make this team.
There's a segue. Right. He's been practicing. Right. He's been practicing. Right. Yes.
So what I did was I pulled up ESPN's. Now, this is clearly going to be a little off because there's already one thing on here. It's a little old. I think it's this morning old. But I thought it'd be good just to go down the quarterback, the running back, the wide, all the big positions, and see what you guys think as far as whether you agree or disagree with any of them. If you agree with them, we can move on. We don't have to talk about everyone, but we can go as far as you want. Calvin, I'm going to start with you. The quarterback position says Rodgers, Rudolph, and Howard will all make the team. And more likely than not, Skylar Thompson will be out. Do you think that's true, or do you think something else is going to happen?
Other than QB number 2 on a roster, I really don't care. I mean, I know
you should care.
What I'm saying is that if Rodgers
at least you're not a GM.
Hold on, Mike. I have the floor. Rodgers, obviously, number 1. He goes down. Rudolph, number 2, maybe gives us a little bit of a chance. Maybe. Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, I agree with that.
Number 3, if we get to number 3, we know Will Howard's going to be out. So if we get to number 3, it doesn't matter if it was Will Howard, Skylar Thompson, or Logan Woodside. The season is over. So, in this case, Rodgers, Rudolph, Howard being kept with Howard being injured. Okay. Then, great, fine. What you're telling me is you're hoping that Howard develops, you can continue to keep him on as the project in the event that next year's looking bad for drafting a quarterback. So I'm okay with that. I can't stand this Skylar Thompson shit.
I hate it.
I mean, come on, give me a break. If
put him on the practice squad,
right? If you're a real football fan, sorry, but if you're a real football fan, and you'll understand this, you don't care about Skylar Thompson, no matter how good he looked in the preseason, thrown against 3rd and 4th and guys that are going to be out on the street tomorrow morning. Right. Doesn't matter. He's not in the plan at all, and he's never, ever going to be. Okay. What do you want? Grand Schwabini, you want to talk about the quarterback room, or did I sum it up for you?
I think you summed it up. The only thing is, thank God in New England that they didn't have that mindset with their 3rd string quarterback, also drafted in the 6th round, Tom Brady. Imagine if they thought, of course, he'll never ever be in a game. And
but dude, you're talking about a unicorn. A unicorn.
Am I talking about a unicorn?
How
about San Francisco? A good thing they didn't pay any attention to their 7th round Mr. Irrelevant Hall of Fame Brock Purdy. Right? How about them? Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is that I agree with them keeping Will Howard for that reason. The only reason they put Brock Purdy in was because of an injury. And that
is the only reason that Will Howard would ever get in.
That is exactly right. And I'm saying that's why you keep them, and Howard's injured this year anyway. So that tells me they're hoping to keep him around as maybe a project for the future.
Right. But you don't say you don't care. You say, I hope, even though he's a project, that he's got something.
Well, I don't really care until
everybody wants to believe that.
Okay, let's go to
the only thing I have to add with the quarterback position that might happen is due to Will Howard's injury, they may put him on that pup, so he can't play in the first 4 weeks.
Right.
And then they'll just push off that decision. They can do that up to 8 times a year. So it's possible they might do that, but I agree with you, Clyde. Who gives a shit about Skylar Thompson? If he gets cut tomorrow, doesn't mean anything to me. Let's move on to the running back position. The running back position right now says Jaylen Warren, Caleb Johnson, and Kenneth Gainwell, which means Trey Sermon is out. Schwaber, what do you think?
Well, I have always been a Trey Sermon fan. However, I have no problem with this running back room. I think it's a good running back room. I think that what you will see is as the season moves along, you will see Caleb Johnson become the running back 1. And I really like his game. I agree. We've talked about this before. I do think he is that type of runner that needs the 20 carries in the game. So I think that the more and more carries he gets, the more effective he'll be. I always like Jaylen Warren as a change of pace back, and could certainly give you some starts and some good ones if called upon. And I really like Kenny Gainwell as a third down back. Can catch the ball, can make people miss in space. Has the Super Bowl pedigree. So I like it. I like that room. I think it's a good running back room.
All right, Chris, anything to add to that?
Again, and this is not because I don't believe in these runners. It's because the Steelers have bungled this position for a few years now. So you guys know I was high on Jaylen Warren his first year. I'm the guy who said he would make the team. You guys are like, he'll never make the team. He did. What I'm worried about with Jaylen Warren is that does he have the stamina to be, a 3-down back? Because right now, the way the Steelers operate is they are going, Caleb Johnson is a rookie. So my suspicion is they're going to try to stick with Warren as much as possible or bring Gainwell in. And will that wear Jaylen Warren down? He hasn't had he hasn't been a number one back yet. I like him. Mm-hmm. Caleb Johnson, I haven't seen enough of in the NFL. He did start to come on in the later in the preseason. Maybe he was starting to kind of see the blocks as they were happening, not after they were happening. And I do think he's better than Najee Harris as far as his abilities. I want to see his burst. And Kenneth Gainwell, I think, has proven that, he's the kind of guy that can rip off a big play on third down, and he's a pro and he's won a Super Bowl. So that helps. So I'm not high on the running back room, but I think it's a solid place to start. And if everything works out correctly, Caleb Johnson should be starting by the 6th or 7th game. But the way Thompson load manages these guys, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Caleb Johnson be the number one guy right from the start, end up with 15 to 20 touches every game all season long. I know that's not going to happen, but overall, I'm good with this running back room. I think those are the guys who deserve to stay. Let's look at our favorite spot, the wide receiver. DK Metcalf, CA3, Calvin Austin III, Roman Wilson, Scotty Miller, Ben Skoranek. Now, Skoranek's mostly going to be a return guy, but nonetheless, he'll be the fifth wide receiver should somebody go down in this situation. I'm going to start here because I just have one thing to say about this group. No problem with this group. I just wish they were keeping 6 wide receivers. I think keeping a guy like Robert Woods around probably makes sense as a 6 wide receiver as opposed to maybe the next position we'll talk about. But other than that, we've beat it to death. Metcalf's the number 1. Austin, Wilson, Miller are all number 3s probably. And Skoranek, he's just there for filler. If somebody gets hurt, in that CA3, Roman Wilson, Scotty Miller, honestly, there are probably lots of wide receivers you could pick up to fill in for those guys, and you wouldn't really miss a beat. So I'm good with this group. I think it's right the way they did it. Schwaber, I'm going to start with you.
Well, I mean, I don't love the group. I like the DK Metcalf acquisition a lot. I think he's a big upgrade over Pickens. Not really even so much on talent, but more just on having the right mentality for the game. And that translates to production on the field. But, I would say I still think they do have that number 2 receiver issue. I think it's pretty clear that they think that too, because they're always involved in these conversations about acquiring another wide receiver. And I think there's got to be a little something to that. But we were talking a little bit earlier today. One of the things you were saying, which I kind of get, is that there are some other teams that their number 2 or their number 3 receiver are just the same as these guys. So it's not like every team in the league doesn't have a Jamar Chase and a T Higgins,
right? Very
uh,
few do.
or an
Yeah.
AJ Brown and a Devontae Smith. Very few do. So, every team's going to have a little bit of you know, an area where they could do better, and I just think this is one for them. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it is a situation where there could be an emergence. If maybe Roman Wilson will
Yeah.
emerge,
Potentially. Yeah.
maybe Calvin Austin will emerge as more than just the number 3. But I don't love it, but I don't hate it either.
Well, I mean, we've seen, other than Roman Wilson, we've seen their body of work. And I'm not, I get your point, Steve. I really do. But those guys, they have, Josh Allen throwing to them. I mean, at this point right now, player to player, who's better, Allen or Rodgers?
Of course.
Right.
There's no disagreement there.
Right, I know. I'm just saying that the Steelers, they need. Look, DK Metcalf is going to get as much attention as the other team can physically give him without leaving one of these other guys completely open and unaccounted for on every play. I mean, he is going to garner all of the attention, 100% of it. And we have had games and, situations where, like George Pickens, he was garnering all the attention. And Austin, Miller, Skoranek didn't show me anything remotely close to being able to step up and say, okay, he's getting all the attention. Now it's my turn to have the big game. The big game. Not
CA3 did that a few times last year.
Well, what I'm saying is that's
maybe not 4 or 5 times, but 2 or 3 times.
What I'm saying is that's what I'm worried about. It's not that I don't think any of these guys measure up to maybe a number 2 or a number 3. They made this argument with the Jacoby Myers thing. I heard this argument made actually on the Mark Madden show. And the argument was made that not by Madden, by I think his producer or somebody he was interviewing. But the argument was made that, hey, look, Jacoby Myers, if the Steelers were willing to pay up for him right now, Jacoby Myers could come in here, and he is a number 1 quality receiver, but he is also kind of a 1-1A because he's the one that would step up when that other guy wasn't having a good game in Vegas. And so what you need to have is another guy who's a threat, so that when Metcalf, because he's not going to play most likely all 17 games, or he's going to be shadowed and covered like white on rice. And now you have a guy in Jacoby Myers who caught 800 yards last year and a bunch of touchdowns, who in those bigger games stepped up and became a number 1. So we don't have anybody like that. Calvin Austin isn't going to step up and be a number 1 if Metcalf goes down, and neither are any of the other guys. And I'll tell you what, all this talk about Roman Wilson, I'll be honest with you. Look, if he proves it to me in a live action, in a real game, I'll be like, great, that's awesome. That's exactly what we needed. But I can't say a damn thing about him yet. He hasn't played it down.
I know. Isn't that great?
Right. I mean, he could be unreal, and he could be like 99% of all the other receivers out there that play in the NFL. Average. But this whole, like, he shows them something good. Like, look, man, you got to be coming over the middle when Baltimore's defense is bearing down on you and it is playoff time, and holding on to that ball as you get your head ripped off. Okay. Now you've stepped up to the plate. I haven't seen it yet. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying I have no idea with this room. I know DK Metcalf is great. Beyond that, I'm not convinced.
So none of you guys give a shit about Robert Woods.
No,
I care less about Robert Woods. His career was over. He won a Super Bowl. He had a great career. He's done.
Well, he got injured. I think he's just cooked since the injury.
All right, let's move on to the tight ends then.
Yeah,
let's do it.
CD has been in the house. He said, sermon to practice squad, got to make space for 4 tight ends. The offense approach is about the tight end formations, 12 and 13 personnel, then audible to mismatches. Yeah, we get that, Chris. We do.
How about that? We're moving on to we're moving on to the tight ends. So tight ends. Fryermuth, Washington, Jonnu Smith, and Connor Hayward. What's it say? Something about Mercedes Lewis? I don't know what that's about. Anyway, I would not keep Connor Hayward. I think he's a bum. I don't think he needs to be on this team. I like the other three guys. I think it's a good tight end room. They don't need to keep Hayward. I don't know why they're doing it other than the appease Cam. But to me, that's the only reason.
Let me just step in here once, and I heard a couple people talking about this on the radio as well the other day who were insiders that knew. Sometimes and you understand special teams, Steve. He's a great special teams guy, and that's the actual reason that he's on the team. Like that he's a fill-in or a gadget guy. Everybody knows he might touch the ball once or twice a game, but on special teams, he plays really hard and he does a great job. So they're keeping him. I agree with that. The fact that his name's Hayward, it makes it hard to see. So there you go. I don't know why they would call him a tight end though. That much. I guess I'm kind of saying like, yeah, but he's a tight end as a last resort.
So. There's no category for gadget guy.
Yeah, right.
I mean, honestly, they should probably call him fullback. And if they wanted to actually wanted to get more use out of him, they could use him as a fullback.
No doubt.
To block for the runner.
Yeah, I think you're going to see fullbacks start coming back here. I really do, because I think if you look at it back in the past, most of the great running backs had fullbacks in front of them.
Right.
And it's not to give all the credit to the fullbacks, but damn well those Hall of Fame running backs, they give that fullback a ton of credit, for their careers. So you might see that come back. You want me to go first with this tight end room?
I think go ahead, go for
it. Here's what I think. I think Pat Fryermuth is average at best as a tight end. Average at best. I think Darnell Washington has unbelievable untapped potential. No, I wouldn't go that far. I'm just saying. I think Darnell Washington is an excellent dual purpose guy with the blocking and the fact that he runs people over and he can catch the ball over people. He's got to be worked in. I think Jonnu Smith is a big question mark because last year he had a tight end friendly quarterback and a tight end friendly offense, and he was playing, you know what I mean? And he looked good. And then Connor Hayward, I just explained myself on that. That's a special teams play. Call him a fullback.
Go ahead, Schwabi.
I think it's a solid room. I agree with you. I'd probably leave Connor off of my 53. But otherwise, I think you're looking solid. I would say at the same time, though, I would say Pat Fryermuth is a little bit better than average. I think he is, I think he's got the potential to be like a top 10 tight end if it's realized. Remember, he hasn't been playing with great quarterbacks these past couple of years. I think that Darnell Washington is a bit of a disappointment. I got to be honest with you. I mean, we kid you about him all the time, Klein, because you're a super fan. But he really should be better than he is. I mean,
so I've got a rebuttal to that, but go ahead.
He's got talent. But the few times that he's been called on, he rarely comes up big. And I don't know if that's because he's not expecting the ball to come to him, or what, but he's a good blocker, but
let me just rebut the Darnell Washington thing here real quick. He was drafted by Arthur Smith because Arthur Smith really wants to get him into the offense. And I don't think this year, what I heard, one of the first interviews I heard with Aaron Rodgers when he was at OTAs, or at minicamp, I'm sorry, when he was at minicamp, he talked about Darnell Washington and what a huge target he is and how enjoyable it will be to be able to utilize him. Nobody has talked that way about Darnell Washington. And I think Aaron Rodgers looks at him and goes, I got to throw the ball to this guy. Not because he's going to run these great routes or he's a sprinter, but because Rodgers knows that if he's in near the end zone or in the end zone, over the middle, on a safety, that he can put this ball in the air, and this guy doesn't necessarily have to jump and can still catch a ball. I think that there's more there for this guy. And
well, he's got to prove it, is what I'm saying.
Well, I don't think he's been given the opportunity to prove it. He was always kind of like put in as a blocker, or they were running that dumb out pattern for him. So now,
but, at the same time, that we don't know. Number one, we don't know that. Maybe they did run plays for him, and he wasn't throwing the ball because he wasn't open.
But how do we know it for sure? Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is just what you've got to do, the eye test.
Or so maybe he didn't earn it in practice.
Maybe he didn't. On Freiermuth, when you say the potential, HJ, what year is this for Freiermuth in the league?
I got it right here, as a matter of fact. It's his 5th year in the league.
Okay. Should have seen more from him by now.
Well, here's
I don't care how bad his quarterbacks were.
He had one bad year where he didn't play for 5 games. So let's throw that out, okay?
No, he still played for at least 11 games.
Okay, so let's leave that in there. But because he was injured, he didn't play as much as he would have, even when he was healthy.
If he was out 13 games, then you throw that out.
That being said, he averages around 60 receptions and 600 yards. That's a little bit better than average, but not that much better than average. So I think in last year, he was a top 10 tight end with 65 receptions, 653 yards, and 7 touchdowns. He had a pretty good season last year after signing a pretty big contract. So I think, he will take a step back, just because I do believe that they will be utilizing Mount Washington more. And hopefully, I know that people are talking about Johnny Smith's injury. Let's assume that Johnny Smith, doesn't play every game. But what I really like is their ability to, show like they got 2 tight ends coming in. They're going to run the ball, but then they pass the ball. I love that element of surprise with Arthur Smith's schemes, where now they can send 2 tight ends down the field right across the middle. And especially, I agree with you, Chris, that if they're on the 10-yard line, and I think if Aaron Rodgers sees a big target like Washington in the end zone, he's going to put it where he can catch it. Now he's going to
get more looks. I mean,
he's going to get more looks
because he's going to be blocking more. He's going to be blocking more. I mean, what OC like Arthur Smith doesn't love a 350-pound, 6'6", ball catching, blocking tight end who doesn't have to be the feature of the offense. See, I don't think he should be a feature, but he should be in on just about every offensive play. He's a hell of an option, Anyway.
Well, I'm glad we weren't talking about Connor Hayward that whole time. That makes me happy. Let's move to the offensive line.
Yeah, and then we'll cut it off until defense for next week. All right.
That's what you want to do, but we got to make a lot of picks next week.
We do, but we're at 43 minutes right now. I mean, what do you want to do? We got to give.
I want to talk Steelers. That's what I'm doing.
We got to give the Pirates a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah, but that takes like 10 minutes.
I know.
Offensive line. Does anybody have any problems with who looks like they're going to cut? That would mean Nestor, Max Sharping, Andres Pete. Do you even know who these guys are? Do you care?
No.
Andres Pete actually used to be, I believe, a Pro Bowl player that they brought in. But I think he had missed some time due to injury, and he's trying to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am 1, 2, 3, 4. I heard an outside. I heard Trey Essex on the Madden show say that if there was going to be a surprise cut, and he said, I don't think this is going to happen. So I want to make sure to say that Trey Essex did not say he thought this was going to happen. But what he did say was that if there was a surprise cut, Isaac Seumalo would be that cut. because he didn't play and he's injured. So
and he's expensive.
And I repeat, he did not say he thought. He said, I don't think this is going to happen at all. But if there was going to be a surprise, that could be one. I think their offensive line is fine. It's young. It's talented. Zach Frazier is good. Broderick Jones is finally playing left tackle. Mason McCormick, Troy Fautanu is finally going to get a, hopefully, what looks like a whole season in after looking decent last year when he did play.
Mm-hmm.
Depth is a problem on every single NFL team. You don't trot out a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro and they go down and you replace them with an All-Pro. It doesn't happen that way. So I like the line, but this is the year that the line must become. Schwab's going to love this.
The line. I knew it.
That's a Tomlinism I just made up.
Uh-huh.
Do I have faith in it? No. I have faith in Zach Frazier. I know that guy. He's a baller. He's going to play. The other guys is kind of like one guy was injured. Jones is coming into a different, a different position that he actually used to play way back when. McCormick, wasn't he injured too for a little bit? So it's another question mark for me. They have to put a year together where they gel as a line. And then it's like, the Eagles offensive line didn't become the best offensive line in football over literally, a 1 year span. They put the pieces together and within 3 years, they were the best line in football, So
I think the whole line this year, it's all about Broderick Jones.
yes.
He's the most important piece. He's got to protect the blind side of Aaron Rodgers. He's got to keep people off of Aaron Rodgers. If he's able to do that and live up to his first round selection, then this offensive line can be very good. If he can't do that, then
Problems.
You'll see more problems and things will crack. And then what'll happen is somebody will beat Broderick Jones and then Aaron Rodgers will step up in the pocket and then somebody else will get credit for having given up a sack.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's all about Broderick Jones to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think his big problem is always with the speed on the outside. If he can take the speedsters on the outside and push them to the middle, even if he can't block them, then I think you keep Aaron Rodgers from getting killed, and that will be a positive. Let's move to the defensive line.
We're going to do it anyway.
we're going to do it. Yeah, you got me in charge. I'm going the whole way
right.
in.
All right. I can see.
Keep your answers pithy if you want to move on to the friggin' Pirates.
Yeah, okay.
Cam Hayward, Keanu Benton, Derek Harmon, who's injured. Yaha.
YA.
Why?
It's how everybody in the whole world is saying it. So my guess is that somebody in Steelers media relations said his name is pronounced
YA Black. Logan Lee, Loudermilk, and Aquale. What do you think, Schwaber?
Well,
there's really not that many. I don't see any cuts here of people who like, oh man, like they can't keep him. I
mean,
they're keeping everybody essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I mean, you've got Cameron Hayward, who's great but old. We'll see. Keanu Benton hasn't lived up to the hype, but I think he's a quality player and could have a good year. I don't think his career has officially been a bust. I think he could still become a good player. Really like the Derek Harmon pick. It seems everybody likes the YA Black potential.
Right.
Logan Lee, Loudermilk, Ukulele. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's okay. I mean, the bottom line is, to me anyway, you really need two really good guys in the middle. And if that's Cam Hayward and Derek Harmon, great, because your playmakers are on the outside.
Right. I agree with that.
Well, you've got three down linemen. and you've got a total of what is it?
7 positions, 7 guys
3,
there.
4, 5, 6, 7. I love the way, and again, I'm harping on this because I love the Eagles. I'm not an Eagles fan, but I love the way the Eagles have put their team together. And how many defensive linemen do they carry? 8?
Well, it's also different because they don't run a
They don't run a
3-4
3-4.
I understand.
They run a 4-3.
Right.
Right.
Well, I understand, but what I'm saying is that
they'll probably keep 6, let's say.
I bet they keep more than
They
6.
might keep a little more. I'm pretty sure.
My point is how fresh can these guys keep themselves? Hayward, don't like what he pulled this year. He's playing anyway. He kind of tarnished his reputation for me. First of all, no defense he's played on has ever really won a playoff game or even looked good. And that's where it counts. Second, he is getting older, and I understand, he's the Benjamin Button of defensive linemen. No, he's not. He's human. Okay. And last year he had a great year, and the Steelers did the right thing by saying play or don't. And he's playing. I congratulate him for that, but he didn't have to be a distraction, and Mother Nature will come to, see him
Always
soon.
wins.
Absolutely. So a total shot in the dark, whether Hayward returns to last year's form or not.
That's true.
Keanu Benton, average. Derek Harmon, we saw potential, but we're not going to see anything for at least a month. Y.A. Black is getting all the press because he has put some big hits on some people in the preseason. The other guys, Lee Loudermilk and Ukulele. Listen, man, run game. If you want to win, if you want to beat the Steelers, run against them. They Cameron Hayward, those guys, they couldn't stop the run last year anyway. And Derek Harmon is out to start the year. Let's see if Y.A. Black can plug that hole. But I'm not sold on this either. There's a transition going on. That's what it is. And unfortunately, the Cam Haywards of the world and probably the TJ Watts are not going to see a Super Bowl with the Steelers, So, it's tough. It's tough. I think I worry about the defensive line. Not enough work has been done there yet to turn it over, keep it fresh, and bring in some new studs. So we'll find out if Harmon comes back to play and Y.A. Black continues his progression. But
Harmon is going to come back to play. That's for sure. Well, I guess the only thing that I have against this defensive line is they're keeping 7. You're only playing 3. They must be thinking that they're gonna have injuries on the line, because I think why do you keep 7? You don't need 7 guys.
I think they're thinking like the Eagles did: rotate.
It's a different damn defense.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's too many. Okay,
it's too many.
All right, whatever.
Linebackers: T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig, Jack Sawyer, Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, Cole Holcomb, Malik Harrison, Mark Robinson. Once again, four linebackers start. They're keeping 9. Like, why even keep Mark Robinson at this point? I mean, they should just make him a special teams. They should just say he's a special team.
Okay, but that's his natural position. But he is a linebacker, so they're going to list him as linebacker. He is on. They keep him and Malik Harrison for special teams.
You're driving me crazy, Clyde. You're driving me absolutely nuts. Okay, I'm just making a point that 9 linebackers for 4 positions when you have T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith, who maybe come out for a spell. And so basically you got 7 linebackers. Let's use 6 for 2 other positions. What the fuck? I mean, do they really need this many linebackers? Are they expecting that much coming in and out? I mean, it seems like that they're spending a lot of capital on positions where they're pretty solid. Like, I just don't understand.
We have a live update. Mark Robinson has been released.
Well, there you go.
Thank
you, ESPN, for being wrong. And that makes more sense to me. And I'll move on with Schwaber.
Yeah, I mean, it is a little crazy that you've got this many, linebackers. I mean, the thing though here is, I mean, look, I know that they call them linebackers, but I think the more appropriate position to call them is edge.
Edge. Yeah.
Because,
Well,
yeah, no, look,
they have 4 edge guys on this list. You're right about
right,
that.
because they got 4 edge guys, and then they got basically Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson are the main actual linebackers.
Well, Holcomb
right?
and Harrison too. They're going to play the inside,
and they're kind of like the subs for those 2 guys.
Correct.
So really, it's I mean, that's why I think they were really, keeping too many on the defensive line, because essentially Watt and Highsmith and Herbig and Sawyer are
kind of a defensive
like they're
end,
defensive ends, but they just call them linebackers because they do drop in coverage, and they're pretty decent at it. They do get some interceptions a couple times a year.
Yeah.
But really, the majority of time they're trying to make stops in the backfield and sack the quarterback.
All right, Klein, clean it up.
I mean, TJ Watt's great. Alex Highsmith benefits from him. Nick Herbig is supposedly, a good student. Jack Sawyer, who knows? They picked him up. He looks like a monster. Patrick Queen underperformed last year. Maybe this year in the defense, second year, he'll pick it up. Peyton Wilson is undersized. Cole Holcomb got injured. God bless him. Malik Harrison was definitely a special teams play. And Mark Robinson is gone. I think their linebacker room is good when it comes to pressuring the quarterback, but I'm not sold on it. Just not sold on it, covering over the middle. I
have some breaking news.
Okay.
Kenny Pickett is on the move.
Where is he going?
He has been traded from Cleveland to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, no shit. That is.
I love it. That is great.
I love it. It's a Raider. A Raider.
That's great.
Well,
that's great breaking news.
The Raiders had an Aiden O'Connell got injured. So,
so bring in the next best thing. Right.
Kenny Pickett. They trade? Like,
who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Kenny Pickett.
Actually, the Browns got a 2026 5th rounder going back.
There you go.
Not bad.
That's probably the Browns' best move all year.
Kenny Pickett's finally where he should have been since day one. Journeyman. All right. Let's do cornerbacks. Let's go. Let's rock it through this because we got one more thing to do after this. Cornerbacks. Go ahead.
I got no problems with any of these. I think this is solid. I don't think that Corey Trice is going to be there in the end. Brandon Echols is proven that he's better, and I just don't think Corey Trice makes it. And Beanie Bishop, I think both of those guys are not going to make it. That's my point.
Right. I think Darius Slay. Man, I want to root for him so bad, but he's old. Okay, he's old. It reminds me of the Patrick Peterson signing.
That wasn't so bad.
It wasn't great. He had a great year the year before, and he did not have that great a year when he came here. Darius Slay, I really didn't like that, to be honest with you, because like I said, he's old. Jalen Ramsey. He's had issues where he's gone. He's had locker room issues in the past. He's a little bit of a wild card. Still has great skills. JPJ definitely stepped back last year. Way too handsy. Hope he learns. Corey Trice, they have high hopes for him. I have no opinion. James Pierre, Brandon Echols, they're fill-ins for injuries and nickel and special shit. I'm not happy with the room. I'm just not. I'm Jalen Ramsey's a big name. Darius Slay's a big name, but they're past their prime. And JPJ, he will probably benefit from some tutelage, which I think is great. But JPJ showed me last year that he draws a lot of negative attention. He is not as great. yet as everybody thinks he's going to be. I know. I'm just being the voice of reason. That's it. The voice of reason.
Maybe idiocy tonight,
Okay.
but yeah,
All right,
close,
all right.
close. Good, Schwaber.
My goal.
Well, as usual, Mr. Klein, you're absolutely wrong.
I hope I am.
First of all, Darius Slay is a really good signing. I mean, look, all I can tell you is this. What is he? Is he 35 now? He was 34 last year.
Yeah, he's 34.
Okay. Well, all I know is at 33, I never had a worry in the world that his guy was going to beat him. Now maybe it happened once or twice over the course of 17 games, but never a worry in the world. And constantly coming up with passes defended in critical moments. He's a really good player. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's a really, really good player. And I see nothing that shows that he's had any type of decline whatsoever. Honestly, I thought that the Eagles would probably sign him to a 1-year, $10 million deal. But I guess they're sort of, I mean, look, it's a little different for them because they got Quinyon Mitchell and they got, Cooper DeJean. So they got a youth movement that's ready. But at the same time, I thought that was probably their most significant loss, really. Jalen Ramsey, I mean, look, he had a very good year last year still. I mean, I don't know. I mean, people say he's lost a step or something like that. But, if you look at the stats from last year, it doesn't look like he lost a step. So, corners are the types that can play well into their 30s. And Joey Porter Jr., I think it's the perfect scenario for him. Like you said, he's going to get his tutelage. And now he doesn't have to go up against the very best receiver that every team has to offer this year. Think about it this year. Last year, he had to guard AJ Brown, right? Who's like a 1+ like a top 3-1, right? If they play, they're not playing the Eagles this year, but if they had to play the Eagles now, you know who he guards? Jahan Dotson. He's gonna have a good year. He's gonna learn how to play. It's gonna help him that he's not going against the very best receivers out there. Obviously, unless there's an injury, that he will. He's gonna gain a lot of confidence this year, and I think he's gonna be ready to step into a CB1 or CB2 role next year in a good frame of mind. So I like the group. I'll tell you what, I think that they're going to keep Beanie Bishop. I know everybody's saying that they're not.
So?
I think they're going to keep him. I mean, the bottom line is he just made too many plays, don't you think?
I mean, just put him in that gadget guy category, and he'd be fine.
Right.
CD says the cornerback room is big, slow, takes chances, and look at me. Hope I'm wrong, but if no pressure on the QB, they get burned. That's what I'm concerned about, CD. That's what I'm concerned about. All right,
we've not had pressure problems in the past.
True.
Last quarter, we're not going to go through the specialists because we don't care about Boswell or the fact.
By the way, though, one thing you mentioned on Boswell, I don't know if you guys saw it today, but there was an article out that said that he has very quietly under the surface been complaining about his contract.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he has. He's been holding in too. Yeah,
he's a hold in.
But he'll be fine. He'll get his money, or he won't, and then we'll sign that guy from Jacksonville, and we'll have a guy to kick 70-yard field goals. So no big deal either way. Deshaun Elliott, Chuck Clark, Killebrew, Thornhill. I don't think the safety is that big of a position in the NFL. I think these guys are adequate. I think it's fine. I don't have a problem with this group, and I don't really care too much about them.
Oh, by the way, one other thing to mention, I don't know if you guys caught it. They did release Cam Johnson.
Corliss Waitman is the punter, yes.
Yeah, so they went with the other guy, which I was a little surprised by.
He played for them last year, and Cam Johnson had a pretty big injury. I think it just came down to that, honestly.
Okay, enough about the punter. Safeties for me, biggest concern on defense. I'm not saying it's the biggest part of the defense. I'm just saying that room, to me, I'm very concerned about.
I'm really not, actually.
I disagree with Steve that the safety room doesn't matter in the NFL as much anymore. It matters a lot I think it matters a lot.
It does,
but
but
what-
actually, I like the room though. I mean, I like Deshaun Elliott. I actually like Chuck Clark quite a bit. I know the Eagles had been working to try to get him the last couple years. So I like the starters. I think Thornhill has filled in pretty well from what I've seen so far. He looks like he makes plays, comes down hard in the box. Miles Killebrew I could give or take, but if I like my two starters and I like one of my backups, I feel pretty good about that room.
Yeah, see, the reason I disagree with you is because in a 3-4 situation, the safety isn't that important. Your splash plays are made by your edge rushers, and that's where they put their money. So it doesn't. You don't really aren't relying on Miles Killebrew to make the splash play like you might, with a team that might be playing a 4-3, because now you have to rely on that safety to come up to make the big play. You don't in the Steelers' defensive scheme, and it's always been that way. So I think that these guys are fine, especially Deshaun Elliott. He can come up and make the big play, and I think Chuck Clark or Juan Thornhill can lay the big boom occasionally, and that's all you're looking for. They're irrelevant other than that.
Yeah,
and that is it. That's the list.
Okay. All right. I thought I had more to say, but I don't want to say any more about
This is not your Sean Taylor safety scheme.
Yeah, that is very true. All right, listen, go to theporcheslive.com and register on the website. Give us your email. We would love that. You can also bookmark it. You can do everything at theporcheslive.com. You can listen to the show. You can watch the podcast. You can watch shorts and more. You can read articles. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can have fun. You can just leave it on your TV as your screensaver, but I digress. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. Go over there right now if you're not watching. We get a lot of people watching on X. On X, hit that follow button. We would love to see that and see a lot more of that. But on YouTube, you can go to at the Sports Porch Podcast and listen to the podcast.
By the way,
anything else?
Christopher Litch says Cleveland threw in a pair of small isotoners for the Kenny Pickett small hands.
We also want to remind you that right now, I think I am the only one wearing the draft gear stuff, but I'm wearing the Sports Porch hat. You got it on? You got the sports. That's a shirt for the Sports Porch, but you got the Sports Porch hat, steelcitydraftgear.com. If you use the promo code Porch, you get 5% off. In case you haven't found out yet, the draft is coming to Pittsburgh in April. It's only going to be the single largest event the city has seen ever in its history as far as people coming in. So we think you should get an early start on it and get your draft drip right now. SteelCityDraftGear.com. All right. We going to talk about the Pirates at all?
Yeah, we got to get a little Bubba Chandler action in, right?
I mean,
Bubba is in the bigs.
Look, guys, Bubba came up. He pitched 4 innings in relief. He looked pretty good. Who cares? Honest to God, I'm so sick of saying it. Like, look, Bubba Chandler is not the answer. We all know this. And do the Pirates really have as much pitching depth? I mean, Mitch Keller sucks in the second half. He's terrible. This Mike Burrows guy is average. Jared Jones may not come back and be the same after Tommy John. Paul Skeens is the only one that is really shown to be the reliable pitcher. Who really cares? Bubba Chandler, yeehaw. Get some bats, and we can talk next year. Maybe next year we can get together, Pirates, and we can have a talk about what you've done and how you've progressed and where you've looked at your failure and you've tried to grow. But until then, bless you, the Grand Schwabini. Until
then,
then,
I was waiting for somebody to bless me.
I mean, we're live, so it's kind of weird. Like you're not sure what to do. Should I ignore it?
No, you got to bless, man.
But really, I mean, if you go to the meetings, Pirates management, admit that you have a problem and deal with it, and then maybe next year after we've had an off season to grumble and groan and feel horribly bad about the situation. There's going to be a lot of guilt involved because you don't want to hate the Pirates, but you do hate the Pirates. We'll see what you do. And then maybe we can have a conversation again as to what it is that really matters, because nothing you do right now matters. It doesn't fucking matter. You know, everything we've talked about with the Pirates has come true. Everything. You know, Chris Chada, Skeens, McCutcheon, critical comments seem to have fallen into the void. Nothing came into that at all. Maybe no one cares. Well, I'll tell you what, Chris. I think you're referring to management and ownership. But if you're not, if you're referring to the fans, we all heard it. We did. It was all over the radio, all over our show, all over all the other shows, you know, but it's almost like it's exhaustion. It's exhaustion. And so I think what you're seeing is that these particular players have finally said, I can say anything I want here and they're not going to fire me. You know, it's that mentality. And they're starting to kind of say what they think. And, you know, of course, management is not going to address that. First of all, there's nothing to address anymore this year. It's in the books. They are finished. And second of all, why start an argument? You know, they know they suck. You guys want to add anything to that?
Not really.
Yeah, the only thing I have to add is I find it ironic that Bubba Chandler got a save in a game in which the Pirates won 9-0.
Yes, yeah.
Because I pitched
4 innings.
Yeah. Right, yeah, there's what the save rule, which means if you pitch 3 innings or more, then
they're going to just give you the save.
You get to save no matter what. I thought that was funny. But I did go back and watch the highlights of him pitching. Clearly, we didn't watch the whole game, but
no.
The one thing I did like about his pitching was, one, he's got a great fastball. Two, I think I love the way he tries to hit all aspects of the zone, all the 4 corners he tries to go after. I didn't see his junk too much. That wasn't that impressive. But it is really dumb to take a guy like that and bring him out of the bullpen in his debut when clearly this guy is going to be a starter in the major leagues. And, you know, we were listening, and I was listening maybe a little bit more in depth to Charrington talking about it. And basically he said, well, Donnie Kelly doesn't like to just pull pitchers out of the rotation. They have to actually lose their rotation before somebody else can earn that spot. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why does a guy with, you know, over 5 ERA, why does he get to keep that spot when a phenom's coming in, number 1 ranked prospect by Major League Baseball standards, and he's got to prove that he can be better than this old guy who's, you know, pitching at a 5.0 ERA? It just is dumb. And it proves your point, Calvin, that the Pirates have no idea what they're doing. They're poorly managed. And let's just move on from this failed management franchise. Let's just move on from it. I'm done talking about it. Yeah.
It's a shame when Connor Griffin gets promoted from single A to double A. And like, that's the big news story for your baseball team. You know, you got issues. And then I heard one of the other baseball guys say he watched Connor Griffin for the Altoona Curve just the other night. He's supposed to be a great hitter, you know. He was up 3-1 in the count. He got 2 straight fastballs that he couldn't catch up with. So look, for all you know, diehards out there, it's 1 at bat. I get it. It's 1 at bat. But usually, you know, these guys that are phenoms, when they hit fastballs normally, when 2 fastballs show up on a 3-1 count, they're going to hit one of them. You know,
right,
they're going to hit one of them. And why is the other? They were playing the Reading Phillies. and the announcer called him a some random bootlegger for the Reading Phillies, struck him out on 2, 3, and 1 fastballs. But why are they throwing the fastballs? Because their scouting says he can't catch up with them when he's ahead in the count. So, I'm going into too much depth and detail on that, but like when that's the biggest story of your franchise, the Bubba Chandler and Connor Griffin being, wow, we got a long way to go, man. We have not even started to climb the hill.
Yeah.
Haven't even scratched the surface.
We have not even begun to slice the vegetables. I mean, it's like everything's still in the fridge and it's got a fucking expiration date on it. And you want to know what we do? We wait until that expiration date is like 3 days away, and then we decide to start thinking about cooking that meal. And then we pull that shit out the day after, and it smells a little rotten, but we try to eat it anyway.
And it's gross.
Right. Right. The expiration date on the Pirates for this year has officially reached us. And thank God, because it is football season, right? Right? It is football.
Amen to that. Amen to that, brother.
Okay, subscribe on YouTube at the Sports Porch Podcast. That's right. Subscribe on YouTube. Please go there right now. Hit the subscribe button. Man, if you're there and you haven't done that yet, you got to do it, because our show talks about real stuff. We listen to sports radio in the car on our hours long drive home from Put-in-Bay this week. And man, I'll tell you, it was like 3 sentences about sports and then all this other stupid stuff intermixed with 20 minutes of commercials. And like, we know everybody needs to make money and we want entertainment, but we came out of those segments and we all looked at each other and we're like, we didn't really hear them talk anything about sports. So this is a fan's perspective. We love doing it. We want you to chime in. We want you to join in. And the only way for you to really know that you're going to catch up with us is if you hit the notifications button after you've subscribed on YouTube at the Sports Porch Podcast. So that way, every Monday night around 7:30, your phone dings like it always does. But this will be a ding you pay attention to, because you'll know we're live. And you also know that your opinion counts with us. We throw out some crazy opinions here, right? We do. But I'll be damned if one of us isn't right a lot, which tells me that you, the fans, are right a lot. So let's do that. Let's do this. After the show, I'm going to drop the podcast. You can go back and subscribe on Spotify, iHeart, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Go to theporcheslive.com right now. You can do everything there. You can listen to the podcast. You can watch the show. You can watch our shorts. You can buy Steel City Draft Gear at steelcitydraftgear.com. And right now we're going to just jump right to what we're watching, because I think that's, it's a good time to do that. Next week, we're going to tease. We're going to do our NFL picks next week. That's going to be a fun show. What we're watching, what is this? You want to do it, Schwab, or you don't have enough energy?
Absolutely. Okay. One of my favorite segments on the show, what we're watching. It's our way of giving back to you, our audience, our fans, our family. One of the worst things in the world is when you can't figure out what to watch on all these different streaming services. You got so many choices. Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Apple TV Plus, Peacock, Paramount Plus. It just goes on and on and on and on, and it doesn't stop. And you know what? They do such a good job with those trailers. You just keep watching them. Right? They just come right on. They come right on.
It's a new show.
You get through 45 minutes of trailers and you're like, I don't even know what to watch. It's time for bed. And I just blew my evening. I wasted that time. I threw it out. I'll never get it back. Well, good news. Your friends here at the Sports Porch, we give you your time back. It's yours. Not only that, we tell you whether the show is good or bad to make you the hero in your living room.
Right.
So this one was a little different this week because we were on vacation in Put-in-Bay having a college reunion, and we all sat around and watched the very same movie.
We
coming
did.
highly touted by one Grand Schwalbini and Hockey Jesus. And we wanted to see what would be the take of your technical director. So with that,
Okay.
I give you Chris Klein and his review of one of the greatest comedy classics of all time, Napoleon Dynamite. Take it away, Chris.
Thank you. It sucked. That's it. That's all I got. Okay. So, look, first of all, I want to apologize to you for not being able to give you your time back on that very long introduction for what was supposed to be a very short segment. But, whatever.
You do the same thing that I do when you do it. You never
I know.
criticize yourself.
I know. Okay, Chuck. Anyway, it's an inside joke here. On the board. This is the only night he's watching, Anyway,
He's not watching.
Listen,
Well,
listen.
this does give us an ability to dissect your brain. How was it that you didn't find enjoyment in
Listen,
this absolute classic?
I just spent 4 days with you dissecting my brain, which is what you do every time we get together. And so, whatever, man, dissect away. Look, this movie, 2004.
You're just mad because I've been talking to babes online all day.
Yeah. Listen, man. The only positive that I can
Come
give
over
this,
here and hit me and see what happens.
yeah, the only positive thing I can say about this movie, the only thing I can say in defense of this movie, which I don't want to defend, is that it was filmed in 2004. I would have been 34 years old, not 54 years old. And I was slightly immature back then. And I may have found it entertaining, but I found absolutely nothing funny about it. I just thought it was dumb. It was just dumb. Like okay, there's a love story. And at the end, they end up playing tetherball. Yeah, great. I didn't like it, guys. I'm sorry. And I know, look, I go to work and all the younger guys,
Yeah.
and some of the old, I get it. They like it. They love it. Okay. So I can't sit here and say, well, most of us are just stupid and we like stupid things. No, I like a lot of stupid things too. This wasn't my kind of stupid, boys. It just wasn't. I wanted it to be because it's been talked up, not just by you, but by a lot of
everybody.
a lot of, yeah. I could not do it. I could not do it. I'm very sorry.
Maybe just underneath the surface, it's like you wanted to not like it. You wanted to be different. You wanted to be edgy. That's what I think happened.
What do you think happened, Steve?
I think it's you're right about it being a love story. But I think I was looking for. I think what you missed in everything was the way the humor was written. It was written to be stupid.
I know that.
I know, but you were trying to analyze it so that, in my opinion, I think you were looking at it like you were like, okay, how can I think this is not funny? And if you're going to watch the movie with those set of eyes on, I can see how you would think it's not funny. But if you said this is an artistic gem and these actors are like nobodies and they're trying to portray, high school life in Idaho, and how can that be funny to me, that I think you would have had a different perspective on things.
Yeah, and I think it's also it's like you look back to the high school days and you think about all the kids that were picked on. And you think about, that must have been really hard for them. That must have been sad. And,
yeah.
And like they try to be cool. Like, they try to say things that cool people might say, like, that's what I'm talking about. When he throws the steak at him. And it's just like, and it's so funny kind of hearing it coming from like a nerdy person, but they're trying to get into life, you know what I mean? And then finally, kind of like at the end, it was like, you know what? And all the dumb things that they've done, they finally like hit on one thing and everybody got behind them and it was just cool. It was like the the kids who weren't cool kind of broke through for a minute.
Yeah.
And it was just heartwarming. Let's play some tetherball. Brings you back to the camping days. I remember back when I was at Willow Grove Day Camp, and we played tetherball nonstop.
Okay.
And it was wonderful.
All right.
Nostalgia.
I can't do this anymore.
I think you were maybe just a bully.
I was not a bully. I was bullied a lot. But hey, listen, what can I tell you? Napoleon Dynamite, big thumbs down for me. Sorry.
2 thumbs up right here.
I know.
2 thumbs up. Watch it, people. Don't listen to the technical director, which has lost some
mojo. Listen, guys, we want to thank you for being here every single week. We love it. Our X following needs to grow. If you're watching us on X right now, make sure that you hit that follow button. There will be more to come. YouTube, we picked up a couple subscribers this show. Thank you very much. YouTube at the Sports Porch Podcast. Click that subscribe button. Click the notifications. Every Monday night, 7:30 p.m., the Sports Porch Black and Gold edition is here. And I'm going to drop the podcast right after the show. So why don't you go on over to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio app, or anywhere you get your freaking podcasts. Find the Sports Porch Black and Gold. Hit that subscribe button as well. Every single week I drop the podcast right after the show. We're going to be back next week. We're going to do our NFL predictions. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's probably going to be a long show. We might actually have some people. Let's see if we can get a sponsor for this show. What do you think, guys?
We'll find a sponsor.
Yeah,
I would get Napoleon Dynamite to sponsor the show.
You know what? If we're going to get a sponsor and his name's Napoleon Dynamite, I'm up for that. You're up for that. All right, for Hockey Jesus over here for the Grand Schwabini, I'm the technical director. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next week. I am out.